Imagine a journey that unites the ancient wisdom of India with the spirit of modern change, where a single voice challenges centuries-old beliefs and sparks a revival that echoes across a nation. This is the story of Swami Vivekananda's profound journey through northern India, a journey filled with inspiration, challenge, and the relentless pursuit of truth. Welcome back to our series on the life of Swami Vivekananda. In this episode, we follow the Swami on his travels across northern India in 1897, where his words and actions ignited the hearts of thousands. Despite his health struggles, the Swami's mission to awaken India's soul took him from the serene heights of the Himalayas to the bustling cities of Punjab and Kashmir. Join us as we explore his encounters, his struggles against criticism, and his vision for a united and empowered India. Chapter 10. In Northern India. From May 1897 to the end of that year, the Swami travelled and lectured extensively in northern India. The physicians had advised him to go as soon as possible to Almora, where the air was dry and cool, and he had been invited by prominent people in northern India to give discourses on Hinduism. Accompanied by some of his brother disciples and his own disciples, he left Kolkata, and he was joined later by the Seviers, Miss Muller and Goodwin. In Lucknow, he was given a cordial welcome. The sight of the Himalayas in Almora brought him inner peace and filled his mind with the spirit of detachment and exaltation of which these great mountains are the symbol. But his peace was disturbed for a moment when he received letters from American disciples about the malicious reports against his character spread by Christian missionaries, including Dr. Barrows, of the Parliament of Religions in Chicago. Evidently, they had become jealous of the Swami's popularity in India. Dr. Barrows told the Americans that the report of the Swami's reception in India was greatly exaggerated. He accused the Swami of being a liar and remarked, "I could never tell whether to take him seriously or not. He struck me as being a Hindu Mark Twain. He is a man of genius and has some following, though only temporary." The Swami was grieved. At his request, the people of Madras had given Dr. Barrows a big reception, but the missionary, lacking religious universalism, had not made much of an impression. In a mood of weariness, the Swami wrote to a friend on June 3rd, 1897. "As for myself, I am quite content. I have roused a good many of our people, and that was all I wanted. Let things have their course and karma its sway. I have no bonds here below. I have seen life, and it is all self. Life is for self, love is for self, honor for self, everything for self. I look back and scarcely find any action I have done for self. Even my wicked deeds were not for self. So I am content, not that I feel I have done anything especially good or great, but the world is so little, life so mean a thing, existence so servile, that I wonder and smile that human beings, rational souls, should be running after this self, so mean and detestable a prize. This is the truth. We are caught in a trap, and the sooner one gets out, the better for one. I have seen the truth. Let the body float up or down, who cares? I was born for the life of a scholar, retired, quiet, poring over my books. But the mother dispensed otherwise. Yet the tendency is there. In Almora, the Swamiji's health improved greatly. On May 29, he wrote to a friend, "I began to take a lot of exercise on horseback, both morning and evening. Since then, I have been very much better indeed. I really began to feel that it was a pleasure to have a body. Every movement made me conscious of strength. Every movement of the muscles was pleasurable. You ought to see me, doctor, when I sit meditating in front of the beautiful snow peaks and repeat from the Upanishads. He has neither disease nor decay nor death, for verily he has obtained a body full of the fire of yoga." He was delighted to get the report that his disciples and spiritual brothers were plunging heart and soul into various philanthropic and missionary activities. From Almora, he went on a whirlwind tour of the Punjab and Kashmir, sowing everywhere the seeds of rejuvenated Hinduism. In Bareilly, he encouraged the students to organize themselves to carry on the work of practical Vedanta. In Ambala, he was happy to see his beloved disciples Mr. and Mrs. Sevier. After spending a few days in Amritsar, Dharamsala, and Murree, he went to Kashmir. In Jammu, the Swami had a long interview with the Maharaja and discussed with him the possibility of founding in Kashmir a monastery for giving young people training in non-dualism. In the course of the conversation, he sadly remarked how the present-day Hindus had deviated from the ideals of their forefathers and how people were clinging to various superstitions in the name of religion. He said that in olden days people were not outcasted even when they committed such real sins as adultery and the like, whereas nowadays one became untouchable simply by violating the rules about food. On the same topic, he said a few months later at Khetri, the people are neither Hindus nor Vedantins, they are merely don't-touchists. The kitchen is their temple and cooking pots are their objects of worship. This state of things must go. The sooner it is given up, the better for our religion. Let the Upanishads shine in their glory, and at the same time let not quarrels exist among different sects. In Lahore, the Swami gave a number of lectures, among which was his famous speech on the Vedanta philosophy, lasting over 2 hours. He urged the students of Lahore to cultivate faith in man as a preparation for faith in God. He asked them to form an organization purely non-sectarian in character to teach hygiene to the poor, spread education among them, and nurse the sick. One of his missions in the Punjab was to establish harmony among people belonging to different sects such as the Arya Samajists and the Orthodox Hindus. It was in Lahore that the Swami met Mr. Tirtha Ram Goswami, then a professor of mathematics, who eventually gained wide recognition as Swami Ram Tirtha. The professor became an ardent admirer of Swami Vivekananda. Next, the Swami travelled to Dehradun, where for the first 10 days he lived a rather quiet life. But soon he organized a daily class on the Hindu scriptures for his disciples and companions, which he continued to conduct during the whole trip. At the earnest invitation of his beloved disciple, the Raja of Khetri, he visited his capital, stopping on the way at Delhi and Alwar, which were familiar to him from his days of wandering prior to his going to America. Everywhere he met old friends and disciples and treated them with marked affection. The Raja of Khetri lavished great honours upon him and also gave him a handsome donation for the Belur Mutt, which was being built at that time. Before returning to Kolkata, he visited Kishangarh, Ajmer, Jodhpur, Indore and Khandwa, and thus finished his lecture tour in North India. During this tour, he explained to his fellow countrymen the salient features of Hinduism and told them that they would have a glorious future if they followed the heritage of their past. He emphasized that the resurgent nationalism of India must be based on her spiritual ideals, but that healthy scientific and technological knowledge from the West also had to be assimilated in the process of growth. The fundamental problem of India, he pointed out, was to organize the whole country around religious ideals. By religion, the Swami meant not local customs which served only a contemporary purpose, but the eternal principles taught in the Vedas. Wherever the Swami went, he never wearied of trying to rebuild individual character in India, pointing out that the strength of the whole nation depended upon the strength of the individual. Therefore, each individual, he urged, whatever might be his occupation, should try, if he desired the good of the nation as a whole, to build up his character and acquire such virtues as courage, strength, self-respect, love, and service of others. To the young men, especially, he held out renunciation and service as the highest ideal. He preached the necessity of spreading a real knowledge of Sanskrit, without which a Hindu would remain an alien to his own rich culture. To promote unity among the Hindus, he encouraged intermarriage between castes and subcastes, and wanted to reorganize the Indian universities so that they might produce real patriots rather than clerks, lawyers, diplomats, and government officials. Swami Vivekananda's keen intellect saw the need of uniting the Hindus and Muslims on the basis of the Advaita philosophy, which teaches the oneness of all. One June 10, 1898, he wrote to a Muslim gentleman at Nainital, "The Hindus may get the credit for arriving at Advaitism earlier than other races. They, being an older race than either the Hebrew or the Arab, yet practical Advaitism, which looks upon and behaves towards all mankind as one's own soul, is yet to be developed among the Hindus universally. On the other hand, our experience is that if ever the followers of any religion approach to this equality in an appreciable degree on the plane of practical workaday life, it may be quite unconscious generally of the deeper meaning and the underlying principle of such conduct, which the Hindus as a rule so clearly perceive. It is those of Islam and Islam alone. Therefore, we are firmly persuaded that without the help of practical Islam, the theories of Vedantism, however fine and wonderful they may be, are entirely valueless to the vast mass of mankind. We want to lead mankind to the place where there is neither the Vedas nor the Bible nor the Quran, yet this has to be done by harmonizing the Vedas, the Bible, and the Quran. Mankind ought to be taught that religions are but the varied expressions of the religion which is oneness, so that each may choose the path that suits him best. For our own motherland, a junction of the two great systems, Hinduism and Islam, Vedantic brain and Islamic body, is the only hope. I see in my mind's eye the future perfect India rising out of this chaos and strife, glorious and invincible, with Vedantic brain and Islamic body. In our next episode, we will witness Swami Vivekananda's deep connections with both Indian and Western disciples, and see how he tirelessly worked to blend the best of both worlds. Don't miss the next chapter, where we uncover the making of Belur Mat and the incredible impact of his Western disciples. Stay tuned to discover how Swami Vivekananda's journey continues to inspire and transform lives today. Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.